Doctors, lawyers, accountants, teachers, they all require some kind of minimum qualification and skills in order to be able to practice. But when it comes to the private music industry, it's completely unregulated. If you've decided to get some singing lessons, how do you know who to trust with your voice? What should you be looking for in a good vocal coach? In this video, I want to share a little bit of my own personal story and struggles, and then I want to help you avoid the major pitfalls that people experience when they're looking for a good vocal coach. I can't solve all your vocal problems today, and I can't tell you which teacher is going to be perfect for you. However, I can explain what qualities set the best voice coaches apart, and hopefully that will make your journey a little bit easier. It's going to be a fun and inspiring video. Let's get started right now. Hello and welcome to Total Voice TV. My name is Darren Wicks. I'm a contemporary singing coach and choir director from Melbourne, Australia. My mission at Total Voice Studio is to help you feel good about singing and help you feel good when you sing. If you're an adult singer of contemporary styles of music, don't miss any of my online education and free singing tips. Let your voice be heard and start now by hitting that subscribe button so I can keep you informed every time I upload a new video. If you've clicked on this video, I guess you might be curious to know what goes into making a good vocal coach. Maybe you've had some lessons in the past that have been unsuccessful. Maybe you're getting lessons right now and wondering if your teacher is any good. You might have seen some of the conflicting opinions on the internet and even tried some of the online singing materials. Even though I graduated college as a piano player, my real dream was always to be a singer, but the big problem for me was a lack of confidence in myself and some really bad pitch and ear skills. But as a young music teacher, I quickly realized how important it was to have some confident skills in singing, and I decided to do something about it. Over the next decade, I must have taken singing lessons from 20 singing teachers or more, and my experiences were very mixed. Some were slightly helpful, some were very unhelpful, some were positive, some were negative. I kept thinking if I can just find the right teacher and the right method, all my problems would be solved. I remember even one teacher who fired me as a student, saying that I had no talent as a singer and wasn't making any significant progress. I spent hundreds of dollars on online singing courses, which to some extent were helpful, but only gave very general advice and couldn't give you individual feedback about how you were performing with the exercises. So I spent thousands of dollars to fly across to the other side of the world and spend a concentrated few weeks training with one of the big internet singing gurus. Doing that was a little bit like the scene from the movie The Wizard of Oz, where Dorothy arrives in the magical city of Oz, only to discover that the great wizard was pretty much a fake. My experience trying to learn to sing had left me frustrated and resigned to the fact that only some people had the talent and ability to be singers. A breakthrough for me happened when I met a couple of voice teachers, one in New York and another in Los Angeles, who had a different approach to training the voice. Both these teachers focused on a functional technique that broke singing down into step-by-step skills that you could practice and master. I started drawing parallels between the techniques these teachers were using and the same techniques my gym coaches were using, and I realized that learning to sing was no different to training any muscle in the body. I became so fascinated in what sets great voice teachers apart that for the next 8 years I completed doctoral research looking at teacher effectiveness in singing and the education of singing teachers. And I've used the results of my study to teach thousands of people to sing successfully over the past 25 years. I've also fielded plenty of calls from prospective clients who are shopping around and looking for a great voice teacher. If that's you and you're currently shopping around for a teacher, I think you're doing the right thing. You should certainly talk to a few teachers and try a few lessons before you settle on a course of study. However, let's first deal with some of the popular misconceptions I've encountered from people checking out voice teachers. Mistake number one, voice envy. This is the teacher who sounds really good, and so you assume that they must be able to teach you to sound as good as they do. Mistake number two, you're on the lookout for the right method, and a prospective teacher claims to have an exclusive method which is far better than anyone else. Mistake number three, celebrity by association. That teacher claims to have taught a lot of pop stars and celebrities, so surely they must be able to turn you into a star. Mistake number four, the industry guru. That means that teacher's had a long, successful performing career, and you assume that they can help you follow in their footsteps. Mistake number five, fine dining cuisine. This teacher charges a lot of money, more than anyone else, giving the illusion that they must be top of their field. So those who can't do, teach. There's a popular belief that singing teachers are just failed performers and that they're stuck in a teaching job because they couldn't make it in the industry. This might be true for some teachers, but for the majority, it's just not the case. Teaching singing is a calling and a discipline all in itself. Teaching is a serving profession, and good teachers set aside their own interests because they want to help you improve. And that's why a lot of busy voice coaches may not have big performing careers. It actually takes many years of dedication, practice, and training to master the art of teaching singing, which we call voice pedagogy. The best voice teachers devote time and attention to being good at what they do, to collecting resources that will support their teaching, writing voice exercises, gathering songs and repertoire, running their businesses professionally, and ensuring they participate in ongoing professional development. One of the questions I always get asked is around different singing methods and which one might be best. Singing methods are kind of a little bit like therapists. Everyone who has a therapist naturally thinks that theirs is the best. Research into the different methods of therapy have proven that most methods share a lot of common factors. Also, that it's not always methods of therapy that make the difference, but the quality of the relationship between the therapist and the client. I believe the same is true for singing, and that the quality of the musical relationship between the voice teacher and the singer is equally as important as the method of singing that they use. There are many methods for teaching someone to sing and many styles of learning. No single teacher has all the answers, and no single method is right for every type of learner. Unless a teacher can inspire you to trust them, to motivate you to learn, and show you how to practice singing in between lessons, no method, no matter how good it is, will be successful. Skills of a good singing teacher. A great teacher of singing has a broad base of skills. They need to understand the principles of music education, how the voice works, the psychology of learning and teaching, and they need to have a big repertoire of songs, exercises, and strategies that are suitable for different voice types, ages, abilities. In particular, I think there are 6 skills that you should go looking for in a good voice teacher. Number 1, interpersonal skills. That means the teacher is able to make you feel at ease and encourages you to do your best. You feel supported and you feel connected. That teacher needs to conduct themselves in a professional manner. They should be friendly but not overstep the bounds by trying to be your friend. They are genuinely an optimistic person who shows interest in you as a singer and doesn't spend so much time talking about themselves and their own accomplishments. Number 2, communication skills. A good teacher can communicate with you clearly, explaining what the lesson goal is, where your voice is currently at, and what you need to do to improve. They give you clear, unambiguous instructions and avoid using imagery and imagination, which can be interpreted in vastly different ways from person to person. And most importantly, you should be singing for most of your lesson rather than listening to the teacher talk. Number 3, organizational skills. A good teacher is punctual in starting and ending lessons, and they are reliable in scheduling lessons. They have a clear, understandable, and fair cancellation policy. They allow and encourage you to make audio recordings of your lessons and give you vocal exercises which you can practice in your own time. That teacher has a recital or a concert where you can go and hear his or her students performing, and also encourages you to get out there and perform. Number 4, musical skills. A good voice teacher should have a tertiary qualification in music education or music performance. They can play piano or guitar well enough to be able to support your lessons and accompany your exercises. A good teacher has a good musical ear and uses that to reinforce healthy vocal habits. They can read music well enough to make sense of a chart that you give them or to teach you a song or rhythm accurately. And they have a broad base of knowledge of the performers and musical styles in which they specialize. Number 5, vocal skills. A good teacher doesn't need to be a professional singer, but they also need to have confidence in their own voice and not be scared to sing in front of you. A good teacher can model the right and wrong sounds with their own voice and give you examples of what you should and shouldn't do. A good teacher is able to listen and diagnose vocal faults, giving specific and clear instructions about how to correct them. They should have an understanding of voice anatomy and voice science, but not try to dazzle you with complex anatomical terms and voice science. A good teacher is aware of the major writers and thinkers on the teaching of singing, and ideally they're regularly reading and consulting these. Number 6, a professional mindset. A good voice teacher views themselves as part of the voice teaching profession. Ideally, they're a member of a professional association for singing teachers, such as ANATS, the Australian National Association of Teachers of Singing, or in the USA, NATS, the National Association of Teachers of Singing, or some kind of international teaching community, such as the Institute for Vocal Advancement. Through participating in these professional associations, a good teacher naturally networks with other colleagues and is involved in regular learning and professional development. They don't claim to be the source of all vocal truth, but they encourage you to ask questions, to study, to seek out answers, and they're not afraid to refer you to someone else who might be able to help you. So this video offers you some general advice for shopping around and looking for a great voice teacher, but my big tip for you is to have a reality check. No teacher, regardless of how good they are or regardless of what method they use, is a miracle worker. Whoever you decide to work with, remember you also have a part to play in the process by being punctual to lessons, by being organized, bringing your required materials, being consistent and having ongoing training rather than expecting instant results. Also being positive, optimistic, and working in between lessons trying to implement the suggestions that are given to you. Ensure that your expectations of yourself are realistic and that you're not expecting too much or too little of yourself. No muscles can be trained in a single session, and for most clients it takes between about 25 and 50 lessons to really get lasting results. Nothing that is truly satisfying happens overnight, but learning to sing can be a life-changing journey. Guys, if you'd like to download a checklist of the points I've shared with you today, head over to courses.totalvoice.com.au. That link is in your description box below. Now that you've explored the qualities of a great singing teacher, why don't you check out my video on the value and importance of singing lessons. A link for that's appearing on your screen right now and in the end cards. Guys, if you appreciate these free tips, I would so appreciate you giving this video a thumbs up like. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, leave them for me below. I read every comment and really value your feedback. It takes me many hours of research and preparation to make these videos, and you can support me to keep making free content on YouTube by heading over to my Patreon page, and a link is appearing in the description box below. Until next time, be well, keep singing, and remember, you were born to sing. Bye.